Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking. You're always looking for and finding the good. You found good in abundance because you tuned in consciously and conscientiously to Eye on Las Vegas with your humble host, Barry Shore, the ambassador of joy. And you know that on this show, we talk about freedom. The ability to do things, to make things happen in the world, things that you're not even realizing what's going on until you meet some amazing people doing great stuff. And we call it Eye in Las Vegas because this place, Las Vegas, is one of those interesting cities that everybody in the world has heard of. Everybody knows Las Vegas. If you take the entire population of New York City and the whole environs, the entire population of Chicago, the entire population of Los Angeles, add it all together, it doesn't even come up to the amount of people that come to Las Vegas in the course of the year. Almost 41 million people come here because it's pulsating with energy and freedom and the ability to make things happen. And we're making things happen with one of the more interesting people I've ever had the pleasure of interacting with. You're going to love him. He's a guy who's done everything from pro sports football to coaching people, to being a leader in something called Esports. So we're going to talk about it all. And just now with wonderful, amazing, wow, fabulous Ahman Green. Ahman, please say hello to people all over the world.
Everyone, hello, everyone. How you doing? Hope you're doing good.
So if people want to, and you don't have to do it right now, but when you can, just first of all, go to the show notes and you can look up Ahman Green, Green, and you look about his sports career and you'll say, wow, this guy's pretty cool. Yep. I mean, playing professional football, you know, not just for the Green Bay Packers, and also, interesting enough, being a coach.
Yes.
And helping other people. And that's really one of the things I love about Ahman. He is a giver. He's there to make sure that people understand that there are things you can do if you really shift your ability, keep that F in place so the other stuff happens. You want to shift your perspective and learn how to focus. So we're going to talk about it right away. Ahman, you and I had discussed before, from a very early age, you learned something about what we call computers. Now everybody laughs because they, well, everybody knows what a computer is today, but not when you were growing up until the age of maybe 5 years old, and you were able to taste the future. So let's talk about your dad and what happened when that came into being.
Yeah. He brought it was a couple of situations. One was he brought the Apple II PC home to repair it from work. He worked at Northrop Aviation. That was in, I believe, Torrance, California, not far from my home. And he brought it home. It was as big as our kitchen table. It was huge at that time. He fixed it. And then I was watching him the whole time. I was kind of over his shoulder, just seeing what he was doing. He had the little soldering iron. I could smell the smoke coming from there. And he got finished. He's like, all done. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, what's next? He said, I can show you how to turn it on. And I'm going to show you how to take this mouse. This thing here is called a mouse, and scroll around. And I'll show you how to click the files to play the games to make sure it works. And so he did. He got me in the game, or got me on the computer. I pressed the power button. I pressed the left click on the mouse, and it was 2 games on there, 2 files of Carmen Sandiego and Oregon Trail. So I played just a quick little. I answered a few questions in Carmen Sandiego. Then I played a little bit of Oregon Trail, and it worked, and nothing shut down. He asked, pay attention if the computer shuts down, if it starts moving slow or anything like that. And I'm like, it didn't do that, Dad. And he said, all right, then it's good. I could take it back to work tomorrow. But that's it. And so from then, I was just like, oh man, I thought it was so cool to tour around on my dad's, basically his work table, and to see what he did. And I was able to help him figure out, find out that it still works. And then from there on, ColecoVision came into the house. We were playing Donkey Kong and Zagzon. And then probably a year later, we got the Nintendo Entertainment System, which pretty much changed everybody's lives if they were able to get their hands on one then. Super Mario Brothers, Gyromite, Duck Hunt. And so 10-Yard Fight, those are the games we started playing. And I just started growing up with that in the house. And it was always rules. So I never could sit on it forever. I had to go outside and touch grass. As my mom and dad would say, if they caught me, playing for a long time on a Saturday, and the nice, we're in California, the sun's out. What are you doing inside? Go outside and play. So I had that, as the rules of making sure that I didn't sit on it all day and didn't just become somebody that was going to sit
Well, I
on the
want
couch.
to unpack a couple of things. Again, people should go and you'll Google and you'll find out about Ahman. So you were a gamer before you were playing in sports and such like
Yes.
that.
Technically,
However,
yes.
it turns out that you were a gifted gamer and a gifted athlete. So
Yes.
tell us about what it was like to be. How did one help the other? If it did, maybe it didn't.
It did. It did because it made me think a little bit more. Playing the video games, you always had to learn the game fast. If not, you were going to sit on it forever trying to beat one stage or the boss, as they called them, at the end of a round or of a stage, or playing a sports game like 10-yard fight or Tecmo Bowl. So I had to think a lot faster, and I learned right away through that, like we talked about before we came on live here, or we're going to record, where I got frustrated one game playing a game of Madden. I was first generation Madden, and I threw a ball, thought it was going to get completed to Jerry Rice. I was a 49ers fan. It got intercepted, so that means the game was over. I lost the game, and I threw the controller at the TV screen, and it bounced off the TV, hit the ground, and one of the buttons broke, which I didn't know at that time. But my mom opened the door. It's like, boy, what's going on in here? What's all that racket? And I said, the game is cheating me. I threw a touchdown, and it should have been caught by Jerry Rice. And she was like, well, okay, but you know what? Your controller looks like it's broke. You break it, you buy it. And I'm like, oh, I'm 8 years old, and I'm a smart kid. I'm like, I don't have $8. I don't have $20.
My money comes from you, Mom. I know you get it from God, but it comes to me through you.
Exactly. Mom and Dad, you give me the money. I'm like, oh, man. So I went to my dad's toolbox, grabbed a soldering iron, a screwdriver, and some electrical tape, and just went to it, opened it up, and started, checking out the button, checking out the wires. The button was a little bit cracked, so I kind of soldered it back together, put the electrical tape around it too, put the button in, pressed it, it works, screwed it back in, and then boom, my controller was working again. So I was like, okay, I don't have to go to KB Toy Store at the mall with the money I don't have to ask Mom and Dad, can I get another controller? So it worked out, and I had that controller working for a while there after that, and no more raging. So I could keep my focus. So I learned a lot of learning lessons there.
Yeah, let's unpack a few things. And here you are, 8 years old, and you did things that 8-year-olds will do. And sometimes people who are 18, 28, 38, 48, 58, 6, 78, they get angry and they throw things.
Yes.
So you learned this remarkable lesson, obviously unbeknownst to you at the time, and although it served you well through the years, that rage and complaints and accusing something else, the game cheated me, those are all diffusing and how should we call it, negative processes.
Yes.
And yet when you thought about it and you went, okay, I'll get the soldering iron and do this and this, those are all positive things that allowed you to do what I call the F word, focus.
Focus. I like it. I knew you were
because when you use the F word correctly and you focus, not only can you make a repair on an item, but you can actually repair the being and recognize that complaints only cause loss.
Yes.
It's not a positive thing. Do you feel that that's true? Did that help you in your football career?
100%. The more time I came up in a situation where I made a mistake, fumbled the ball, missed a block, missed a tackle like on a turnover or whatever, even on defense, when I was on defense in high school, missed a tackle, I learned how to focus more. I didn't get mad, and this was high school now and little league. I didn't get mad because I could revert back to that situation. When I was 11, not 8. I'm sorry. I was 11, but still I was young. And now for every moment past that, I knew right away when I made a mistake, I never got mad. I'll just sit there, take a pause and be like, all right, I messed up there, but this is what I'll do next time to get better and not to make that mistake again.
I want to quote something that I just read recently, Ahman. It's amazing. So you brought it back to me. And actually, I was listening to a speech that a guy who also played football, his name was Tom Brady.
I know that guy. I know that guy.
He spoke recently, and it was very uplifting speech because he's an uplifting guy.
Yeah, he is.
And he talked about this exact situation that you mentioned, that by definition, you're going to fumble, something's going to happen. And the ability to get past it and not let it make you angry or upset is what separates the true successful player from just a regular player.
Correct. And it's not much. You would think it's like a whole year of training or practicing or whatever. No, it's about 1% difference sometimes. If that one player, you got two players side by side, no matter the sport, no matter the position, they have the same ability. They could jump high, they could run fast, they could throw the ball a country mile, they could do everything physically the same. But then that one player is just a little bit better only because they keep their mind together in certain situations. When they're in their game, they're focused. They mess up, it doesn't shake them, it rattles. But that other player, same ability, but mentally though, they start to lag behind because they get frustrated, they get mad at themselves, they get mad at their coaches, they get mad at the situation, at the ball, at the bat, whatever. And then now they're less of a player than the player that is the same ability and is doing right. And I think that's what helped me succeed throughout my life, because even when I was a freshman in college at Nebraska, within my first 6 months of school, I became the starting running back as a true freshman. And a lot of people was like, man, how are you doing this? I'm like, I'm just focusing. Am I nervous? Yes, I'm nervous. But I've been playing football since I was 6 years old. It started with flag football, then 2 years of flag. Then I started playing tackle football at 8, and then so on and so forth. So football hasn't changed. It's just a little bit faster. And I just got to focus, listen to the plays that my quarterback is going to tell me. And then as soon as he says the play, I know what I'm doing. So, but if I get nervous, I get mad, I get sad or whatever, I might lose that focus. Then I'm going to lose who I am on that football field. And then the coach is going to have to make a decision. Can we play this kid or not? He's not focusing, or he's not making the right call, or he's making a lot of mistakes because he's been thinking too much. And so then, I pull myself back, and I've been there before where I wasn't going to think a whole lot. I was going to just take what was in front of me, listen to the play, and then go run it. And then really after all that, have fun. I'm playing the sport I've been playing when I was a kid.
I was so happy. I was so waiting for you to use what I call the ultimate 4-letter FU word. FUNN, fun.
Yes.
Fun, and people say, but Barry, fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world. No. In the world of Ahman and Barry, we live in the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. In our world, fun is spelled FU, capital N, capital N. So after this show, when you see your family and friends, I want you to point your finger, have a twinkle in your eye, a smile in your face, say, FU, everybody. But add right away, capital N, capital N. Say, where'd you go? Well, I'm listening to I in Las Vegas, and Barry had on this amazing, great football player, Ahman, and he's talking about fun, because that's where the real talent comes in. When you can focus and understand where you're supposed to be, what you're going to do. And no matter what happens, you're going to do it with fun. You're right. That's that 1% difference between the true pro and a good player.
That's it. And real quick, because my mom would, if she was alive today, she would say something, because I remember a newscaster said my name wrong. So real quick, my name is Ahman, not Ahman. So Ahman.
Ahman. Thank you.
There you go.
Ahman.
Because it was funny. So my first high school football game, I was a freshman, or I was a sophomore, where I was on varsity, and I had a big run and didn't score a touchdown. I got caught. It was like a 65-yard run. And I got caught, but I got caught by the fastest high school player in the state of Nebraska. His name was Ronnie Doss. So he was a track star, but he played on the defense too. And so he ran me down. So I didn't feel bad about getting caught by him. But what happened was, the news that was covering our game in our local Omaha, Nebraska TV station, when we moved back to Nebraska when I became a high school freshman, he said my name, Ahman Green. And my mom, I remember sitting in this is the next day. This was Saturday morning, watching the highlights with her and my dad, and she's like, "What? That's not your name. I didn't name you that. I didn't call you that." And they spelled it I-MAN, Green, on the screen. And so she called the TV station, and I never forget, it was a guy, and I met him over the years because he covered Nebraska football, high school and college. So I eventually met him. His name was Ross. His name is, he's still commentating today. His name is Ross Sternstrom. And I told him when the first time I actually remembered to tell him, and I wasn't nervous because I was about to interview, I said, Ross, I said, you made my mom mad one day by mispronouncing and spelling my name wrong on the TV screen. So I was like, I had to say that because I could just hear her, man. That's not how you say it.
I got to tell you, I am deeply touched and honored that you shared that.
Yeah.
First of all, Mom, we love you. Your son is a tribute to you, Ahman. And we're going to do one thing right now. We have sponsors that love us. We're going to go to a very quick break. We'll be right back after this. Don't go away. We're just touching the beginning of the iceberg of this amazing man, Ahman Green. Be right back.
What if you could shop at your favorite local stores, swipe your current credit card, and get extra cashback rewards? And what if you could also have donations sent to your favorite cause at no extra cost to you? What if this amazing program was absolutely free and very simple to set up? Well, What If is here. Welcome to Einstein Cares, where your everyday shopping gives you and your favorite cause extra money. It's fast, it's easy, and effortless.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Maybe good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. Our cup runneth over with good. His name is Ahman Green.
Yes,
he's a great superstar football player, and he's also a gamer since he's 11 years old, or even younger, maybe even since the age of 5.
Yes.
And it's really fascinating to me, and that's one of the reasons I really wanted him to be here today. He played quite possibly the roughest sport in American sports, outside maybe of hockey, or as he said, rugby, but nobody plays rugby. I mean, certain people do, but, professional football, that's tough.
Yeah.
He's the esports gaming professional and a coach, and he loves it, and he understands that when you do it and you do it well, and you're able to use the F word for focus and have the FU word fun, you can combine, and now you can fill a stadium full of people watching you. So I need to know more about what's happening in esports, Ahman.
Oh man, it's a lot happening. So it's been growing in America for close to 50 years. I say in the last 20 years, so since the millennia, it's just been rapidly just exploding in certain areas of the planet, from Asia, over in Singapore and Korea and China and Japan, and then over in Europe, England, France, and then also here in America. And in America, the last 15 years have been those like pivotal years for, as they say, the infancy stage of walking and talking, where mainstream America, the nation knows about esports. And in the last 5 years, when we had COVID, we had the global pandemic where all of us was stuck in the house, and all the gamers now were basically not much change for them. We're sitting at home on a screen like we are right now, talking with their friends, playing video games, playing games from chess to Madden to Halo Infinite to Call of Duty to Final Fantasy, things of that nature. So playing games that were on the same level as I was a kid playing, Donkey Kong or Legend of Zelda, where you got to think, you got to find, you got to search, you got to rummage through the forest and find the bow and arrow that'll help you make your Link character stronger and fight off the wolves or fight off the monsters in the Hyrule Forest. But it was an adventure, and so now it's to a point where now people that are on stream like us, they can stream and make a living. They could literally sit at home, play video games, be a content creator, or be a professional esports player. And the part of that last part, the professional esports player, that's where I found out a way by thinking about it, by being focused, be like, wait a minute, I could do that, because it's not much different for what I did as a football player. And now I was a high school football coach. I coach football, I coach baseball, a little bit of softball and track. And I was like, wait a minute, I play these games now more than I ever did, because I'm now done playing football. I retired in 2009. And then I was like, maybe I could find a chance, an opportunity to open up. And it did. At the time, I was living in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and a local high school, Bayport High School, had an esports team, and they had a position of volunteer coach. And I was like, you know what? I'll take it. And was able to come in and help out the team and observe as coach do, right? We observe the players, we watch them practice, we watch them play, we watch them communicate amongst each other. And I found out right away, I said, man, I got lucky. I got a real good team here. I don't have to do much as a coach. I just got to correct them if need be. But really, they knew what they were doing. They were a really good managed team among the players themselves. And it was only one or two instances that I had to really step in and say something between organizing practice and then talking through some of the notes I had taken from their practice to give them feedback on how they could get better at the game. And that team was, like I said, only a couple of times I had to interact with them in terms of actually, showing that I could coach. But I say that's sometimes coach doing his job. Sometimes you don't have to say a whole lot. It's already right there. And that team ended up winning the 2018 state championship in Overwatch at that time. So, and a lot of players had won other titles in Super Smash Brothers from that same team. So really good team. And then a few years after that, I got a chance to coach at the collegiate level at Lakeland University, which in that first semester, I was able to coach a kid by the name of Curtis Doki, and he won a national title in the game of Madden in the first semester, fall semester of COVID year, when everything got locked up. We still were online playing video games and winning championships.
So I want to unpack a couple of things here, because you used 2 or 3 words that really move me. And again, we have, thank God, a worldwide audience. Just as you mentioned Singapore.
Yes.
my podcast called The Joy of Living is the number 43 of all podcasts in Singapore.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah, it's a big while because, as you know, Singapore is a very highly educated place.
Yes. Yep,
millions of people, and they're very, they love the F word. They're focused. They're not so much into fun, but they are focused.
Yes.
So I want to unpack something. You said you looked at the process of playing sports, and let's be blunt, playing physical sports, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, hockey, those are physical sports.
Yes.
Esports, without denigrating it, looks like couch potato. Now, obviously it's not. You got to be in a good chair. You got to be right. You got to learn how to breathe well, et cetera, because otherwise you'll be constricted and you won't be able to get blood moving to the mind. But I love what you said. You said, I thought about it. See, this is the key to playing successfully in the 1% of people. Thinking. When you think about things and you break it into pieces and you analyze a play, a group, and how you want to approach something, now you're in a different realm. And when you use the mind, things begin to, you attract situation. You don't have to run after, you get to attract. So as I mentioned, when we're doing in Las Vegas. So Las Vegas is for many people becoming the center of esports for the world.
Yes, it
because if we're going to be filling up stadiums, now we're not talking filling up, we're not talking 300 people. No. We're talking about, I think in Korea, they have sometimes 10,000 people.
Or more in some places. Yes, they do.
Okay, let's call it 20, 30,000 people in a stadium with the big screens watching people play on the computer, on the video.
Yes, it's amazing. And those athletes, I call them athletes, they win money to support their family, to support themselves. And some of them want to go into coaching. Some of them want to go into content creation, being a streamer while they're a pro or when they retire. It's interesting. The retirement age for esports pro now is probably average between 25 and 30 years old. And I'm like, huh? I was like, man, I'll still be playing until I'm your age, playing video games if I could get paid as a pro. But I believe that will change. I believe that age is going to continue to rise because for me, my mom passed away from Alzheimer's. And so a little motivation there because what Alzheimer's does to the body, it starts with the brain. Unfortunately, it destroys the brain. And so video games, esports is one platform that it's all brain. It's not body. It's all brain. It's not body. So for me, that's a little motivation there because unfortunately, my mom passed away from it. But then a learning lesson within my mom's death was like, if she would have been more active, because I was always trying to get her to play board games or trying to play on her phone. She had a cell phone. She just didn't understand it because it was something new to her, and she was a different generation. But I was trying to introduce her the best way I could, and she still would reject it. But I knew, she didn't quite understand it, but I understood. Look, if you learn, you interact with things, you learn, your brain keeps growing and keeps helping. Because that's what I knew about the disease. I could kind of fight against Alzheimer's, but we lost that fight. But I continue with myself, and then with family and friends and the young people out there that I'm teaching and coaching. I don't tell them that all the time, but I'm like, it's other things that this video games can do and help out with up in your head to get you out there. And I say, keep you growing no matter the age you are.
So I'm going to put words in your mouth. Would you encourage people who play physical sports to also utilize esports, because it will help? Each one feeds on the other.
100%. Yes, I would recommend it. I would say search for a game. Not everybody plays the same game. Find a game that you enjoy. If you're a professional athlete, find that game. Find one or two and play them. And then eventually you're going to get to a point where you're thinking a lot more in terms of what you got to do in the game. Then you might find references. Okay, because if I play, say, a professional baseball player, an outfielder, they got to hit the cutoff man. They got to find how they got to read the bat off the ball. When they're in the outfield, they got to see the ball off the bat to see if it's going to left field or right field or straight middle, center field coming to them, right? And so then you might pick up them same little attributes in the video game that you might chose. If it's an RPG, which is a role-playing game, or a sports game, which is either might be baseball itself, Major MLB The Show, or Madden, or NBA 2K, there's a game that will you will find associations and similarities in that game to then reference back to what you're doing physically and be like, oh, wait a minute. Now this is coming a lot easier to my physical sport than I'm doing at home on my pastime, just playing a round of playing some Final Fantasy or League of Legends or anything like that.
So the ability to integrate the mind with the body is what every athlete has always wanted. Yes. And you're saying that this process that we have with us now, whether it's something as simple as on your phone or more complicated in a real console and such like that, they can stimulate those brain cells, keep them moving and active, which keeps the physical body. So you're creating that physical, mental, spiritual connection, and therefore puts you in a better position in every aspect of life, whether it's sports, business, human relations, even.
100%. Yes. All those, because it involves what a lot of people might call emotional intelligence. It involves something I just thought of, emotional endurance, or not emotional endurance, mental endurance. Because sometimes in a game, be it a physical game, be it football, baseball, basketball, track, hockey, tennis, you watch a tennis match, right? For example, that's the first thing that popped in my head. For a tennis match can go, 6, 7 matches, hours. Right. The only person, most of the time, the person that wins is the one who is mentally and sometimes physically stronger. And so you rather have, that's then a good combination. Because if you got mental endurance, you're going to have physical endurance, because you understand what you have to do to win this game. I'm going to have to outthink my opponent, not only outwork them physically, but I'm going to have to outthink them, because I got to be 1 or 2 steps ahead of them on my next volley, because they already know I'm going to the left. I'm going to have to set them up to go right, then left, and then right again to get the win. That's going to take me thinking up here, and also my body being in shape to handle all that back and forth with my opponent. So that's where I was like, it's like a good and a bad thing all mixed together, but it's all working well if you know how to manage it.
Love it. Well, I'm almost loath to say these words, Ahman. Our time together is coming to a close. So I have 3 quick questions for you. You ready?
Yes. Yeah, I'm ready.
Number 1, will you come back again?
100%. Anytime.
Woo!
Just
Thank
ask. You. Just
okay.
ask.
Number 2, Ahman Green. You have 80 seconds only to answer this question. What is your most fervent desire?
Oh my God, most fervent desire. I say I trust a lot of people. I trust people, right? Inherently when I first meet them. I could not know them 2 seconds, like knowing you. I trust you. I had that since I was a kid. Sometimes it got me in trouble because I would trust the wrong people. Sometimes I trust the right people and I'll be in a good spot or whatever. Or I trust myself to do certain things. And so I just wish the world, I was just talking to my wife a couple of days ago about this, that I wish that more people like me that trust people, because I trust people because I want people to treat me like I'm gonna treat people, treat you. I'm gonna say hello. I'm gonna say thank you. I'm gonna say, how are you doing today? How's your day? You know, I wish that we could be in a world that is always gracious of the next person and interacting with that person, and also no judgment, where those people can just be themselves, and when they need help, you give it to them, no questions asked sometimes, and things like that. I just been like that as a kid. I remember as a kid, I didn't understand. I was watching we were in Los Angeles. I'm watching the LA news, and I was watching. It was something to do with a terrorist attack, and I'm 8, 9, 10 years old. And I'm like, I go to my mom and dad, and I'm like, why are these people hurting these other people? And then my dad said, stop watching the news, as a dad would say. But it was like, it didn't make sense to me, because I'm like, what are they fighting for?
So your fervent desire is that trust should be spread throughout all of humanity.
Yes. I mean, and it's tough, right? It's hard to trust people. You got to earn people's trust. You got to earn people's
And we're going to continue to do it. So
exactly.
Number 3, can I give you a hug in front of 429,817 people around the world?
Oh yeah, you sure can.
Let me tell you what HUG stands for. HUG stands for heartfelt, unlimited giving. Heartfelt,
Nice.
unlimited giving. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
All right.
Thank you. Of course, Eye on Las Vegas with wonderful Ahman Green. Look at the show notes below. This is an amazing one. Your humble host, Barry Shaw, and a blessing from both of us. Go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love.
I love it.
Go mad. Go make a difference. Don't go away.